Ed, always a pleasure to evaluate Ed. I talked to Ed before he gave his speech, and he told me that what he wanted to do was give everybody in the room a sample of all of the great content that he was going to have in his newsletter, and then persuade people to sign up for his newsletter. So that's the lens through which I'm going to be evaluating this. First, I want to talk about all the stuff that Ed does really well that I think is easy to overlook, because sometimes when you do things really well, you don't even notice them. So Ed is probably one of the best speakers in this club when it comes to speaking naturally. I feel like a lot of new speakers especially get up and it kind of sounds like they're reading something from a sheet of paper. Even me speaking right now, it almost sounds a little bit different than if you were to speak to me at the bar or something. But the thing about Ed is if you talk to him before the meeting, after the meeting, or you look at him while he's giving his speech, he sounds the same. His cadence, his rhythm, it all comes off very naturally. So I would encourage new speakers and rhinos of really all experience levels to pay attention to the rhythm of your voice when you're going about your personal life. Just notice how you speak and then try to tap into that when you're up on stage, because it really helps you create this genuine connection with the audience and makes everybody feel a little bit less uncomfortable with the whole ordeal of public speaking. The other thing that Ed does really well is he has these very relaxed gestures. You'll notice he's never, his arms are never too close to his body. He's never like hunched over or anything. His posture is very good. And there's this fluid movement that kind of goes on. His gestures are very natural. He's talking about something very small. I think he made a little thing like this. So all of that stuff's really good. His eye contact's pretty good. I think your eye contact, Ed, you could work on it a little bit by just creating deeper eye contact. What I like to do is stare people down a little bit, make it into a little bit of a game, because the thing about eye contact is it's all about nerves, right? When you make eye contact with somebody, there's this weird kind of tension going on, and the thing is you want to make them a little bit more nervous than you, and then that kind of, it asserts your authority as a speaker, right? Like you're allowed to be in the spotlight because now you're not the one who's nervous in front of a bunch of people speaking. You're kind of like the teacher and everybody's nervous that they need to be paying attention, right? Because you're up there looking at them. So deeper eye contact, I would say. I would also say in terms of speaking style, just amp it up a little bit at certain points. You're very conversational, but there are times, I feel like, especially when you're getting into a subject that's so emotionally charged, where I feel like you could be louder and you could pause harder, right? So just raise the volume for a little bit and then wait and then drive home a point. And if you pause like that before or after a point, it'll make it sound a lot more impactful. It'll make it sound like you think it's a lot more important. Just something you could throw in there every once in a while. Obviously, keep your natural rhythm. Don't ever lose that. But throw in these things every once in a while. In terms of the speech itself, I thought it was very logical. However, it was a speech that really spoke to my mind when I felt it needed to be speaking to my heart. In particular, I felt like there needed to be some sort of anecdote about how your life got better when you learned to change the way that you think. Because you laid it out very logically, like there was this whole framework of, okay, well, if you're unhappy, something's got to change, and it's not going to be other people, so it's got to be me, and you can either change how you act or how you feel, and it made sense. But what I really needed to hear was, what does this mean for me? And I feel like that's the content that we're going to be getting in your newsletter. And if you just had even just a 2-minute story in there, it would have been much more important to have that sort of emotional connection than to lay out the logical framework. But I look forward to hearing all of that content in your newsletter and in your upcoming book. So thank you so much for sharing it with us, and I'm really excited for where your future is.